I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We have notes and Parker's not here, so I'll somebody can be timekeeper.
It's 2 minutes.
Yeah, including me. All right. Yeah, welcome to the Normal Heights Community Planning Group for December.
January.
For January. We're off to a great start in 2025.
Happy New Year.
Okay. The Normal Heights Planning Group envisions a healthy, vibrant community that honors unceded Kumeyaay land and cares for all inhabitants. We prioritize inclusive and equitable land use, valuing people over commodification. Through pedestrian-friendly infrastructure, transit-oriented development, open space preservation, and affordable housing, we strive for a vibrant and sustainable neighborhood. Additionally, we promote responsible economic development that supports historic preservation, local businesses, fosters job opportunities, and enhances the overall economic vitality of Normal Heights. Items on the agenda may be addressed out of order or time. The chat entries are not considered official communication, even if to or from board members. I don't think we have any board members in Zoom tonight. And proceedings are recorded and are publicly posted on our website, usually a couple of days after the meeting. And please enter your name in the chat if you're on Zoom for attendance. And we have a sign-up sheet as well here where you can sign up for our mailing list and get the agenda via email and other community information. The rules of the meeting are 2 minutes per person unless extended by the chair or the agenda. Please stay on topic. Other questions, especially around presentations, can be answered offline. Our civic representatives are guests to be treated with utmost respect. Try to be as factual as possible and share the space, especially for new faces. I see some new faces tonight. And anyone may attend from anywhere in the world, but we do not allow horses inside still. Next up is the non-agenda public comment with 2 minutes per person. We'll start with attendees in the room, then move to the Zoom, and then finally board members. And I will stop share for that. And pin the room for everyone. Do we have anybody in the room for public comment?
We're back in business. Did we have anybody in our audience for public comment? Okay, then let's go to Zoom. I think Becky, I will spotlight you here.
Great, thank you. Good evening. My name is Becky Rapp, and I'm a public health educator as well as a member of my own planning group. And today I'd like to bring to your attention that the city discussed their updated 2026 legislative platform last month at City Council. And there's a public health concern regarding this update, and it's relating to smoke-free housing. So HUD requires that public housing be 100% smoke-free. But that protection does not apply to privately owned affordable housing, even when public resources like Section 8 vouchers or local housing funds are used. As a result, families with the same income in subsidized housing can receive very different protections when their opportunity comes along. So as the city continues to prioritize creating homes for all of us and protecting every neighborhood, which is great, I believe that public dollars should not be allocated to support housing that exposes children, seniors, and medically vulnerable people to known health hazards. So planning groups can play an important role in this. And tonight I ask this planning group to support smoke-free standards for all affordable housing by elevating this issue during housing and policy discussions, and encouraging the city to align land use decisions with its health, safety, and sustainable goals. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else on Zoom for a public comment? Anyone on the board for public comment? All right, then let's move on to our next item is picking up the list of priorities from the last meeting and determine any actions that we want to take from that. And I have a list if I can find it. What I distilled out of this was that the sidewalks and walkability and mobility topped the list. And surprisingly, really the pedestrian mobility over automobiles. Walking and bicycles really took priority. I'd say walking mostly, ADA ramps, sidewalk lifts, broken sidewalks, missing curbs, lighting, those were all mentioned. Then also in transportation is what's going on with the Purple Line. There's some planning to have an Express 11 coming up, and a traffic calming. So those were sort of all of the area of mobility. So I think we should take that on first. And I'll open this for comment on like what kind of suggestions can we do to move that forward and make things better.
I wish Alan was here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And Alan could not make it tonight. He's a big proponent of walking,
Yeah.
out of necessity, but also out of choice. I know for me, I just walked yesterday between University Heights and Hillcrest, and I went down Washington Avenue. Actually, on the way out, I went around, but on the way back, I came down Washington Avenue thinking it was the most direct. There is no pedestrian access on Washington Avenue at all. And it's got a little misleading because you'll get a sidewalk that'll take you almost across the bridge, and then it says sidewalk ends, you know. And while I was negotiating my way, there was actually a guy on a walker trying to navigate through the mud on the ramp side, trying to get into Hillcrest the most direct way possible. Not our district, but we do have similar issues, and especially around like flooding. The corners are not navigable, or even some of the alleyways.
With sidewalks, I know that it's official city policy that the homeowner is responsible for their sidewalk in front of their house, right?
Yes.
But the city does repair them sometimes. So like, what's the process by which the city will act? When will the city actually repair the sidewalks? What options homeowners have if there are broken sidewalks in front of their house? And so forth. I mean, maybe useful just to get some information on that.
Sure.
What the, and whether, because I think for most homeowners, it's too expensive to be repairing the sidewalks in front of their house. But whether there are options to do stuff about that. Because I know in the past, when people complain about sidewalks, it's just as well, it's the homeowner responsibility.
That's
Which
true.
doesn't make any sense.
The law for homeowner repair of sidewalks is statewide, and it goes back to 1946. What the city has done in the past, and it might still be true, is they gave a permit vacation because they were charging $300 for the permit. And then you still had to hire a contractor to do your sidewalk. So it's very expensive. The city will, I think in some cases, repair, but you get the bill.
Oh, do they really do?
Yeah, the city does not maintain sidewalks unless it's in front of a city-owned structure, like the rec center, Ward Canyon Park, maybe the pocket park up on. The AAPA tries to take care of, you know, the main avenue, but city does some temporary repairs, like they'll do a grind off of a lift, or they'll fill in with asphalt.
Mhm.
And the asphalt is intended to be a temporary fix of less than a year. But we've had asphalt fills for decades, or even whole sections of sidewalks that are just asphalt. We can always pressure the city to take care of the worst of the worst.
Yes, unlikely to happen, but
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way for it to try to reduce the cost for homeowners that do want to do it. If there's a way to have homeowners get together and do it collectively and get a contractor to do a bunch of different pieces of sidewalk at once, is a way to try to get it, have less costs for each homeowner, to do something along those lines. I don't know if that's feasible or not, or whether contractors would reduce the cost if they were doing a whole bunch of sidewalk instead of in a particular area, but.
That's a great idea. I know that, when you have a roofer doing one house, they go around and knock on all the other doors.
Yes. Right.
So, yes.
Oh, have you ever looked at the sidewalk at the corner of, Copley and 33rd?
Copley and 33rd. Refresh my memory. What's there?
Bunch of big trees and a house, and the sidewalk is they put, the homeowner put plaster over the cracks and it's pumped up, and it's been like that for 20 years. It actually 20 years.
Yeah.
And,
The,
a city, superintendent was out when they were redoing the ramp. And they just did the ramp part and they left the rest. And I said to him, I said, can't we get this fixed? And he said, that's up to the homeowner. So there's been, get it done. I don't know how many times I've put it, get it done, and I know other people have, and nothing's ever happened. And it's a hazard. You have to walk around on the street.
so in most cases, the procedure is that it's reported to the city. And then they send out a code inspector and they tag the house, and then the homeowner has X number of days to comply. But that seems kind of harsh, especially considering the cost. So I do like the idea of, organizing doing an area or a problem area. And oddly enough, if someone trips and falls, the city still gets sued and pays. So there may be an incentive for the city to cooperate in terms of coordinating it, or I don't think they'll put up any money, but but maybe they'll, permit vacation, those kinds of things.
I can just follow, because I know what you're talking about on 33rd and Copley. I think the problem with that is you have to take out the tree, and people don't want to take out their big old trees. Because I think that if I remember correctly, it's just that the roots are so big that you can't just grind down the roots, and you have to take it out.
You have to take them on. And the supervisor that was there from the city said, well, we'll have to take these trees down, blah, 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 blah. But for 20 years, you can't walk on that when it's wet. Or if you've got a walker or a wheelchair, the ADA is, there's no ADA there. Hold up, take a look at it somewhere.
Okay.
Probably in 33rd.
Walk over there.
Someone had suggested to me, wondering if it would be possible to do like a ramp deck structure, if you have a lot of roots and, wondering, can you put a deck, like a boardwalk? Can a homeowner install a boardwalk over a sidewalk? I don't know what the answer to that is. I imagine there's a whole lot of ADA compliance and materials and engineering and spec that goes along with it, but
There's companies that do that,
yeah,
like install ramps for people who are temporarily using wheelchairs in order to get up to the front of their house. So I'd imagine it'd be pretty cheap to build something like that.
similar kind of ramp situation.
And it's relatively cheap to get like an entire ramp installed.
And mostly what I'm seeing is where cars cross the sidewalk at a driveway, and our sidewalks were laid in 1926, 1923. So cars were a lot smaller and lighter. Like 2 football players could pick one up.
I wonder, it sounds like the trees are creating the sidewalk issue, and isn't the city planning on doing a lot of tree planting? Does anyone know if they're planning on doing anything to prevent that? Like, how do you plant trees and also prevent like that sort of situation?
I think Paul mentioned it before, that the city won't let you plant a tree unless it's one of the kind that the roots go down and don't go out. But isn't that one of the criteria of the tree planting thing, the species?
They have the city has a list of trees that they approve of. But if you're a private homeowner, you could plant anything you want and nobody's gonna say otherwise. So that would be sort of an education piece. Also, there are ways of, boxing in the roots. I know that the trees on Adams Avenue have wells for those trees.
Yeah, in San Francisco, they have tree wells and you put a root barrier in, and that way the root
Yeah.
doesn't go out.
And then the tree planting that the city's doing is through the USDA. There's about 5,000 trees they're gonna put in, and they've designated those for specific community planning areas that are in the promise zone. So we're too far north. City Heights is the closest one to us that's getting trees. And I think Barrio Logan and a few others. The usual suspects when you go there and you don't see any trees. It'd be nice if we got some. But we won't get any from the USDA program.
Okay, that's not just palm trees then that don't mess with the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Palm trees have been taken off the approved list from the city.
okay.
Okay. So I think I like this idea of the. Yes,
Actually, you can,
no, go ahead.
my question is if the primary responsibility is on the homeowners and that's like within the neighborhood, but on Adams Avenue, is that like the property management, like who owns like a business building or like I live in the Blind Lady one, like
Be the property owner.
the property owner is the one that's responsible?
Yeah. So I don't know if Blind Lady owns the building.
No, Blind Lady doesn't own it, but I'm saying like the person that owns that commercial building is the one that would be responsible.
Yeah, right.
Okay, because it does feel, Adams Avenue has a lot of pockets that are pretty bad sidewalk situations, which it would seem
Oh.
like a property owner, a bigger, they might, if they're part of a property manager group, they might actually have the ability
Oh, true.
to do it.
And more incentive because there's a lot of public traffic and they want to encourage pedestrians. So, yeah, I think there's coordination with the city on like, what is their recommendation?
Mhm.
And then this idea of, getting a group to do a section.
Paul.
Yeah.
One thing I can add is, prior to me buying my house, the owner subdivided the lot. And part of the permit agreement or negotiation was he had to do new sidewalks and curbs for, I think it was like 50 feet or 100 feet each direction away from what he was doing.
Oh,
He
so
had
not
to-
just the property.
He had to improve the greater area,
Oh,
before they would agree to let him subdivide the lot. So
okay.
they were able to piggyback it onto something else. And the side, like I have brand new sidewalks in front of a 100-year-old house. But it's because it was, I built, and I gotta own, I haven't investigated it because I wanted the house. And it's what a neighbor told me, and even when they told me that, I'm like, why would I care? So I've never like looked it up to see if it was true, but that's what the neighbors all believe. All the neighbors that were displaced for a minute because of their house.
Right, right.
Was getting a new sidewalk, told me that same story. That it was part of the permit process to subdivide. Maybe it
Interesting.
gets added to people that are wanting to improve the property in any way, adding additional structures.
I think in any improvement, probably not, but a subdivision, when it's a mapping action or something discretionary, then that's when you can kind of tie some additional requirements to a permit. So, yeah.
So all the ministerial stuff that's going through doesn't give us really an opportunity to apply that
It
leverage.
depends, I mean, it depends on what it is. Like, I mean, yeah, if you're doing like a patio extension or something, probably not, but. I mean, typically, the city will require frontage improvements. To an extent on any sort of, yeah, like a building permit, subdivision. Like anything, the bigger ones,
Okay,
but probably not for like. An ADU, I would assume probably not. I don't know for sure.
might be interesting when a garage is converted to an ADU that that the ramp, the driveway ramp and parkway is restored rather than just leaving it as a driveway into a house.
Yeah.
Which might end up being like a policy thing.
Yeah.
ADU reform part 2?
Part 2, yeah, we're back.
Oh,
Okay,
you know, if there's any like HOA structures for the businesses, like some business parks, it's like not a homeowners association, but basically like a person who kind of acts as the head of a business park. Like HOA type of thing, and so the business owners and property owners themselves can't actually do any of the like landscaping or work around it, it has to go through the person that all the places are paying to.
I don't know.
I don't think in Normal Heights, everything's too old, that's usually for like in a new strip mall or something, you know, cause then there's like one entity that owns all of it, but yeah, those do exist.
Oh, I just thought of something. About 20 years ago, when I replaced my sidewalk, my curb and my apron. It took 3 permits.
Hmm.
And I do remember that a couple of contractors that I contacted wouldn't do it because the curbing takes more permit and more money to do the curbing than the sidewalk or the apron. But I do remember I had to get 3 permits. But I don't know what it's like now.
I guess my question about this discussion is, what are the things that we can actually do as a planning group? Cause like if most of it's the homeowners, it seems like our only opportunity is just like education versus like things that we could push city officials to help with, like, are there things that we could do that would help with mobility that's within our leverage,
Sure.
I guess, cause I think it's gonna be a lot harder to just be like, oh, what am I doing? Well, I don't wanna pay for that, like, versus the city has to, like, if the street up, like on Mountain View, there's like parts that are completely like, I've tripped many times on Mountain View running because we run on the street,
Yeah.
or you ride your bike, like, are those things, you know, like, would those feel like things that maybe we could get support on? I don't know.
Okay, maybe this is a case where we can do some research on what the city recommends, what they've historically done about this. And then, maybe some of the other planning groups, if they've been through this before, and then once all of that comes together, we can create a plan of, oh, the city will do X, so we can then ask homeowners or businesses to do Y.
We could also request, like, if there are any, like, projects in the area that, like, have, like, permits in process, like, we could request that the city ask the developers to, like, also improve the sidewalk there.
It's a good idea, like the sewer lines that are being put in are gonna fix the ADA ramp on Copley.
Another thing we can do, I mean, I just looked it up, but apparently there's a new program for safe sidewalks. They're getting rid of the permit fee and also offering expedited permitting for property owners. I mean, that's even just information we could put out through our Normal Heights channels to say, hey, New Year's resolution, fix your sidewalk. It's never been easier.
Right.
So that could be at least one way that maybe we can't get the action to happen, but raise some awareness that way.
And like you're saying, we can even line up contractors who are interested in doing this. I know for a few cracks on my sidewalk, I did some little pebble mosaic with some mortar to fix it. And so there's some creative solutions you can do to prevent a trip hazard. at like almost no cost.
Hmm.
So in some cases, we can get creative with some mortar and some tile,
Mhm.
which looks a lot better than the asphalt.
Mhm.
So that might be a solution as well. That's sort of a volunteer thing, and I don't know if there's any permitting involved or if that's just considered hardscape decoration.
Mhm.
Okay,
Question.
Yeah.
So I know there's certain things that are on the unfunded needs list that we have for our neighborhood. How do those, I can't recall, how do those get actually funded? Like, is there anything we can do to push them to be like, oh, like that one at like, isn't it on Adams and East, is it East Mountain View? By the gas station, or isn't that
oh,
approved
yeah, the
for a
crosswalk there,
West Mountain.
yeah.
West Mountain View? Okay. Yeah, that-
By the
Yeah,
Shell station.
the crosswalk there, and then the ADA ramps over by Maddie across the alley are on the unfunded needs list.
And the stoplight at the 805 on ramp on 32nd.
Okay,
That one too.
Isn't the East Mountain View and, Adams where Maddie's is that unfunded too?
that's on the unfunded, yeah.
But to get things funded, essentially, that's part of when Sarah, I know she's not here tonight, but when our rep comes and tells us that it's time for budget season, part of that is, then advocating to our city council member, like, hey, this is our priorities in our community of what we want to see funded. And then it's kind of all part of that budget negotiation process, and then getting the money, and then through budgeting, that's when they update the CIP list to actually fund things once they have it.
Do you know what the cycle is on that?
I mean, it's fiscal year, so I feel like they're always like, it's budget season again. So, I was gonna say, I'll look it up, but I feel like it's probably gonna come up here again soon.
Because I'm thinking if we build the case for these items, that helps our councilman to press for his budget items. If we have, we have the stack of petitions and letters and background and everything on it, then that puts us ahead of other communities, I'm sad to say, but we do
Oh, it's
have to
part of
look out for
it's
ours.
the jockey, and maybe part of that is saying, hey, look, it'll only cost this, it's not some huge thing, it's one little baby, ring up, please. But it looks like the first proposals come out in May. And then it's adopted in October. Oh,
No,
no, that's wrong.
no. We have to meet
We
the
have
nine
a
rep.
Yeah,
No, we don't.
But that's gonna be admitted though.
Oh. Thanks.
it looks like the draft budget is presented in April. And then in May, that's when they take public input, make final changes in June, and then July is when the new fiscal year starts.
So our first marker was,
Well, I mean, they've got marker, I can read them all to you,
Well,
every month of the year gets a marker.
okay, was it,
The first one, I think that really things start moving, the draft budget comes out April 15th. Then it says May, that's when there's public budget hearings, and that's when you get city resident input on spending priorities. And then June, final changes, July, it starts.
that sounds like we should at least have the list identified by March
Mhm.
to start pushing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody up for a subcommittee? I'll be on it.
Need Alan's list.
I'll volunteer, Alan.
Alan's got.
Okay. I think that's probably enough. The three of us, I can get with the other community planning groups. Alan's talked to the city and look at, we'll figure it out. Contractors, identifying areas in the city, like the mapping, that kind of thing.
I can ask the parks group too.
Yeah,
Sick of that.
that was a great.
Oh, I just looked it up and you do have to have a separate permit for curbing, and it's a lot more complicated.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because they're trying
There's
to-
a lot of loops you gotta jump through.
Makes sense because it's that border between the pedestrians and the cars.
And you've gotta consider, it's one of the things that you have to consider is the water drainage
Right.
and a lot more complicated.
So that'll be an ad hoc subcommittee, which won't need to do, public notifications for meeting. Anything else on the list? I'll just do a quick scan here. There was,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing we should try to do is to figure out who the new owner of Denizli's is and figure out what they're planning for that.
Oh, right. We were talking about development in the community and being proactive about it. So
Right.
we've got, we have 2 sites. There's also the Rite Aid.
Yeah, but the Rite Aid hasn't been sold yet, right?
There's 2 offers on the table.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping to kind of tug on the selling agency and see if they'll tip their hand on the new owners. I know they're not supposed to, or they probably have their own rules.
Yeah.
But eventually they're gonna have to come out of the woodwork.
Right.
How do you know anything about them? I mean, how do you know that they're two?
Well, there was a sign on the front of the building and I just called that and started bugging them. Yeah.
So you don't have any sense of.
They said 2 offers upwards of 20 million
But
that they were
whether they're
working through.
sort of thinking of having this as a.
Yeah, they'll have to complete the offer and then there'll be title and escrow and all that. It'd probably be 3 months before that, all the bureaucracy would be completed.
But, or they, as a community won't have any inkling of what they think.
Now, well, it depends. If they do a complete communities build, we won't hear about it till the bulldozers show up. But if it's anything that's discretionary, then it will come to us. And we'll, of course, be bugging the city about what's going on. And we'll be watching the address in Acela to see what shows up, because they will have to put in a demo permit and a traffic permit and other things like that that'll come up. And then we'll see kind of what they're planning, because they'll have some sort of description there. A lot of times you still can't find the ownership because they'll do that through a third-party agency to submit the permits in order to proxy themselves from exposure. But there's ways.
Yeah.
Is there any other development of Normal Heights that we want to push on in terms of like building or development?
Can you think of any other ones that are?
I know
Oh,
yes,
So I'm sorry, I don't know if it's the right time to say something. What about
absolutely.
the former DeMille restaurant? Been that way for quite some time. I wonder if somebody's making an offer on that or anything going on with that.
yeah, so there's a new owner, that just got resold, was a couple months ago. So yeah, we went and tried to reach out to that new owner. We don't know who it is, but it was just recently sold,
Okay,
a couple months ago. So, yeah, we don't know what their plans are for it.
thank you.
Yeah, it could be anything from picking up where the other project left off and using all of their same plans, which they would still have to go through all approvals, because those permits were never paid for or pulled. So all of those permits are now dead. But they could use the same architectural plans, or they could even just land bank it and sit on it until the economy turns.
Is
We don't
there,
know.
I'm not sure the correct term, is a regulation, what kind of building, like they tear that one down and build a small building, or did that still happen, or?
Yes. Currently, they can build up to, I think it's 80 feet, 8 stories, which is typically, that would be like a 3-story concrete pedestal with 5 stories of wood on top. Typically, that's rare. Mostly they go for 7 is the sweet spot in terms of construction. The incentive program from the city that allows them to get that height has changed from being is in the process of removing studios from that incentive list because we're overbuilt with studios. And if you do 2 and 3 bedroom units, you are then qualified for the increase in height and floor area. So
It would never go back to being a business, like a restaurant, then kind of.
it would be mixed use. So the first floor would be retail or restaurant, something like that. That's part of the requirement from the city is that it's a mixed use structure. So you have some sort of business and retail, commercial space on the ground floor and then residential above.
Thank you.
I think if you look up complete communities for San Diego, if you Google San Diego complete communities, you'll get the city's description of the program and all that's in it. And or if you look at most any other large building, especially around Hillcrest and North Park, a lot of those were built under this program.
Well, you know, when they changed, from studios to larger apartments, have they changed the parking requirements at all? Have they done anything about that?
I don't think so.
No.
The only thing I saw in the changes that are proposed for complete communities is the number of or the size of units, the unit mix, and that's in the land development code update. So they haven't run that through city council's approval yet, but it will probably go through.
I think there's also the component of state density bonus law where, I mean, you can waive just about any development regulation. So there's, if the project provides a certain percentage of affordable housing, there's multiple ways to get there, basically, on any height, parking, any of those type of things.
Yeah. I think the experience of the developer in North Park with 0 parking was a good lesson learned for the building community.
From what? Yeah.
They built a building with no parking at all, and it was a failure.
And most lenders will not lend to builders if their plans don't have parking. So that's something on the industry side that you can't propose 0 parking because no one will, like lenders don't want to lend to projects that have that condition.
No one wanted to live there because there was no parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they ended up cutting a deal with the North Park parking structure to get spaces for those residents. Yeah. Live and learn.
Super.
Well, in terms of other development, wasn't there a developer here a couple of months ago that had pitched like a 3-story residential next to Beacon?
Yes.
Did that ever go?
I believe they're still in the process of working through getting their permits from the city.
I don't think
So-
they ever submitted.
They haven't submitted
I looked at it like last month, because I thought about that one too, and they still hadn't submitted any.
because they presented to us, but we haven't been asked as a community group to submit our approval or comment yet. And that won't happen until they get to a certain point in the permitting process.
Okay.
We were all set to go, yeah, do it. And
But I mean, I don't think they knew quite what was happening yet either, so.
Yeah.
I could look though and see where it's at, but last time I looked, they still hadn't submitted it.
there's also a development on the north end of Normal Heights overlooking the 15 freeway. It's it's a house and an ADU overhanging the canyon,
Where?
like right up the street from you on that, the one that goes out where there's a bench and it overlooks the freeway. You know that?
Oh, really?
But Dave presented early
I
last
just know
year.
where you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, early last year.
Is that Benton?
Oh,
Benson, yes. And it was, I haven't seen
are
them
you
building
the
yet.
guy who was saying he wanted to build a house in the canyon?
Yeah.
Who came and presented here?
Yes,
Oh, that guy,
but I haven't seen any progress on actually
No.
building anything.
no, he seemed a little. Well, he didn't seem to have considered insurance as a question.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember, but.
okay,
that
so
was
maybe the
So maybe.
project is
Maybe, I don't
not
know.
gone through.
Because
Okay.
It would be quite difficult to get a house in the canyon insured, I think. He said.
Right. I think the last thing on the list that I will bring up is, green space, tree canopy, trees in the parkway, park space. That's a very difficult equation in Normal Heights, which has mostly been developed edge to edge and front to back. If we have any ideas on how to bring in more trees or green space, or even develop the green space that we do have. I know there's a little pocket park next to the rec center. But I did notice that the parkway that's in front of the rec center is devoid of trees. And I'm not sure why. I think that might be a jurisdiction thing, like AABA does not maintain trees in that space, that would be city parkway. And then the city should then plant a tree there. So that might be something that we can, yes.
I was grateful to see that Ward Canyon cop shop, or being it respectfully, is ripped down, gone. Yeah, I mean that in a really cool way about cops. I like cops, but gone, yeah, fantastic. But then what about putting a bunch of trees there? Because it just kind of a bunch of wood chips. When you say add trees, because there aren't any trees there.
There is a
Oh, there's
plan.
ones way out front. That's true. The old ones are still there.
The big ficus on the corner is
Yeah.
there, but there is a plan in the park redevelopment plan has where they're gonna fill in the trees that were supposed to be there. They'll make the park symmetrical.
Great, thank you.
Nancy, didn't you say that you were at like a tree planting event?
Yes, I was at a couple of them.
Do you know like who ran them or who funded them?
All I know is the one in Encanto at the Encanto Recreation Center. Todd Gloria was there, and it was all a bunch of kids, and I guess some of their parents and some of the New Vision Church were out there planting these trees. And over at Camino del Sol Park, across from our church that we have on Orange Avenue, they planted a whole bunch of new trees there in the park.
Yeah.
The one there at that Encanto, they had the mayor was there and everything. They took pictures of it with the kids, and they all had, matching shirts on for that planting
Yeah.
event.
Right. Okay, well then I think for that one, we continue on with the park development project that's already in progress. Maybe I can ping Scott about why the AABA doesn't cover the rec center and find out if that's
I know
city
they're
responsibility.
trying to get a new play area there. Where
Okay,
that other one is, they have to get where that play area is now, there's a cement like circle that it's in,
Yeah.
and it floods when it rains, so they're figuring out how they're going to get it where the water will drain out of there, and they're gonna put a new thing in their playground area in there.
okay,
They want to. And then the other one at the park, it's in the plans to do that one. And the dog park. And then when they're gonna move the playground area is gonna be moved this way, away from it, so it's gonna. They have new regulations about the thing with Adams Avenue, so they don't want the playground to be too close to where the fence is over there. So they're gonna be moving it this way, and they're gonna have the front part of it, that artist is supposed to come in and put his artwork there.
yeah,
I don't know who's funding that, but that's in that one area too.
okay.
And then,
And
so they had
Becky-
like two two plans of the playground equipment they're gonna use. There was different colors. You got a choice of which color you wanted, you thought would be there, you know, they had two choices. And which one we liked for the different, playground equipment in that, they had different votes. The city from the city were there was 4 different, you know, people there that we had to vote on this.
Well, it seems like the rec group might be the group to actually run with finding out what's up with the parkway in front of the rec center and why it's not been maintained. I'll send a note over to the rec group for that one. And then I think we have the one ad hoc committee. I think that's as far as you want to go. Yes.
I just wonder if anybody knows, if a homeowner wants to, or someone who lives in the property, not necessarily, wants to plant a tree in the parkway. Do you have, and is willing to pay for it? Do you have to get a permit for that? Have to get permission to do that from the city, or what?
To plant in the parkway?
Yeah, does anybody know what the rules and rate, how complicated is that? No.
I think you just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think they'll give you a free tree, you just have to go water it. That's
Oh,
the,
so they will give,
I think
they are
so.
actually giving trees, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Depending on
But I thought you just said.
Depending on
they were
various
only-
factors, I asked for a tree for a location on our street and I was turned down because they said that it didn't meet the criteria. I don't know what it missed, like it was too close. I think it might have been too close to a hydrant or something like that.
So wait, you were asking for a tree for an area that's not in front of your house?
Yeah.
But is on your street?
I put in the address to see if I can get a free tree for that location.
I see.
And then I think it was a neighbor's house and then they said no because it was too close to some infrastructure.
See, I didn't know you could even do that to ask.
They didn't know it wasn't my house.
Okay.
Yes, Danielle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been patiently waiting. Hopefully everybody else on Zoom can give their remarks also. There is a little comment in the chat you might want to check. Someone named Pete put in a request about green space parks, revisit the idea of closing off Cherokee between Vaughn's and Rite Aid to develop a mini park. That's a very novel idea. But I was wondering, where is this list that you're discussing located? Is it on the website or is it just among the board members? Or do you have anything in there about a library in Normal Heights?
That is something that I've got on a back burner. The trick is finding, the owners to have that discussion with the owners about possibly leasing that space. But then I was also surprised to hear the city mention in their ideas report, mentioning a library at Rite Aid as an idea. But I don't know if they're actually doing anything on it other than just making a passing comment.
Sure. So is this list going to be your official list when the budget priorities come out?
I think what we're looking at doing is assembling an ad hoc committee for making recommendations on pedestrian infrastructure and then pushing those items at budget time.
Okay, but what about other stuff that you've been discussing, like trees and parks and maybe possibly a library? Where would that list be? It wouldn't be the ad hoc committee on walkability.
I think at this point, those are just further down the list because I think we have enough on our plate.
Okay.
Um,
Don't lose the back burner list, please.
Yes. Do you think that that's something that we should maybe list out on the website? Just like, here's all the things that we are thinking about, sort of like a community planning unfunded needs list.
Yeah. I would personally say talk to David Modi and see what he suggests. You know, 'cause you don't want to overburden the city with 20 things, but you don't want to forget anything either.
Yeah. It is also the thought if we push hard on one thing, we might get it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And while you're at it for parks and stuff, talk about a pool somewhere.
Oh. Maybe Maybe coordinate with the Fire Safe Council and their hella pool that they're gonna put in.
Well, a long time ago, Parks Foundation used to fund a temporary pool over at Adams Rec. It was an above ground pool and they'd have it there for just the summer.
That's a great idea.
Well, they used to do it, so don't forget a pool when you're asking about a library, please.
Okay. I've written it down. Hopefully it'll make it through.
And then I just did some more Google research. So the free tree program, unfortunately, the city is having budget problems, so no more free tree program, but they hope to reinstate it one day. And then, the Adams Avenue one, they have only done their preliminary review. They've not submitted any further permits. So.
Okay. SDG&E has a tree program as well, but they supply them only to organizations, of which we are an organization, and so is Normal Heights for Smart Growth and the Normal Heights Community Garden. So all of Normal Heights Community Garden has already gotten a donation of some trees,
That's cool.
like for the orchard in the garden.
From STG&E.
I don't recall. It might have been a county entity. Somebody had an email that said, "Would you like some trees?" And they said, "Yes, we'll be right over."
We're gonna do main events that happen on that, like Unplugged and the street fair. The
Yeah.
Street fair is in September, is that right? And Unplugged is April.
Yeah.
I didn't know if like signing up as an organization to have community members say, hey, I want a tree, and then we could compile a list as an organization of how many trees we'd like, and then be able to disperse that or have a tree planting sign up at one of the community events.
It's a good idea,
Yeah.
because our booth is usually just promoting this meeting, but it'd be more interesting if we have something like.
Get a tree in front of your
Get a
yard.
tree.
We'll order it for you.
Right, or get on the list for sidewalk repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think at this point, we'll move on in the agenda to approve the December minutes.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, motion, Brian, and second?
I can say.
Okay. Do we have any comments? I have one, our D9 rep's name is Kanoa, Kanoa. And I'd have to look up her last name, but anyway, that was the only thing I noticed. Got it, okay. Do we have, all in favor to approve? And the nays? And abstain? Not here,
Not here.
not here, okay, she abstains, not here. Community updates, let's move on to Fire Safe Council. The floor is yours.
Before, I might have say it's good to see you. Okay, Happy New Year, 2026. We still have Fire Safe Council concerns, so I'm Susan Rudlings, Normal Heights Fire Safe Council, and we had a very successful 2025. Grateful for the hard workers and the sincere efforts by everyone who participated in my events, our events, I should say. Anyway, we do have, work is going on, and my colleagues at the other fire safe councils, for instance, Talmadge and Kensington and Alvarado Estates, and what we call the Mid-City Coalition of Fire Safe Councils, have been hard at work to put together a really awesome workshop that will be happening on January 21st. I think Paul was kind enough to put those few details in that email blast that you probably got. I also have printed up one of the flyers, and there is a QR for RSVP. But just to give you a brief outline of it, there will be several presentations by fire officials, of course, and there will be a light dinner served as well. So basically, it'll be evacuation planning and safety presentations by San Diego Fire Rescue, San Diego Community Emergency Response Team, otherwise known as SERF, the Red Cross, and all of us fire safe councils. So as we work toward that eventual coalition that maybe will eventually create a citywide San Diego Fire Safe Council, and then we can just be a tab on that particular one, but we do not have a citywide one. So we're kind of, kind of ground floor doing it ourselves, and I think we've been very successful. Anyway, so if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer any of those, but we did have a small workshop here in Normal Heights, and I will be having others here, but this one at the Kroc Center will be really big and very inclusive, and like I said, light dinner served, so please RSVP. There's enough for 200 people, I understand, so come one, come all. Whether you're a homeowner or a renter, fire embers do not discriminate. Okay, so, and they can fly 5 miles. Kenny, yes.
Thanks, Susan. How do we RSVP?
There is a QR on the flyer over there. It's just a simple little form. And so please go ahead and make use of that. I mean, I could airdrop to anybody if they'd like a flyer as well. Come chat it up with me. Or you can take a picture of it. Sometimes that follows through too, but basically you're RSVPing to one of my colleagues, and she's the organizer of the RSVPs and probably ordering the food, etc. So very simple. So any other questions? Let me know.
Thank you. The next item is the Fort Canyon cleanup is no longer January 17th as seen on the agenda. I got word from Kanoa that it is now February 7th. That I also got some good news just before this meeting that the city is going to give the community garden mulch. And so we will be able to have a garden mulching volunteer event as part of the Ward Canyon cleanup as well. So Parks and Recreation is going to supply us the shovels, wheelbarrows, rakes, and a lot of mulch. So that'll be a great opportunity to spread out all that cardboard we collected.
Oh, I have one other thing.
Yes.
To mention, I'm gonna have a SDG go bag giveaway that night. So this is full of goodies in here. So if you'd like to, go and have a chance at this, it's, I understand, a pretty nice bag for, that possible evacuation moment when you just gotta know where that stuff is you need. There you go, right
That's
there.
the actual, everything you need is in there.
Well,
There's packages of water.
call it leave bag and go bag,
Okay.
but it's certainly a start. Yeah, probably some, health issue, things, whatever, bandages and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any food in there, in other words, so.
Okay,
You probably have to add a few things in there, but anyway, it's a start.
great. Let me move on to our city government representatives. I will share the email from. Okay, so this is from Fatima, who's our community outreach person for Mayor Todd Gloria, and this is quite a bit, so I'm just going to skim through it. First item is we're encouraged to prepare for another storm. As you know, we've probably had some king tides, which has also meant some great low tides for going to the beach. There's several ways of contacting the city for flooding. Get it done for small items, or of course 911. Avoid parking under trees during a storm. Then there's an item here to implementation of a state law to combat sex trafficking. If you've been following the Assembly Bill 379. And then a new initiative for building housing for family and first-time buyers. This is under their program at Neighborhood Homes for All of Us, and you can find that on their website. So it's main thing I get here is supporting community land trusts. So I think that community land trusts are very good to allow multiple people to join together in purchase of homes. I haven't heard of any in Southern California, but they do exist around the country.
There's a couple in San Diego.
There are?
Yeah, in southeast communities there's a few.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's generally that people own the house, but they don't own the land on the house. So it's cheaper for people to buy the house because they don't have to buy the land. And the community land trust will actually own the land in perpetuity.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's sort of the mobile home model.
Yeah, it's similar, except that the community land trust, and there's rules about having, when you sell the house, you actually sell the house back to the land trust, and then they resell it to somebody else.
Okay.
So there are different rules with that. Yeah.
Interesting. It'd be interesting to know if anybody has any ideas on where that would happen in Normal Heights. You know?
Yeah, I don't think you could.
You get a couple of Huffmans together or something,
Maybe.
but then it would just be a condo situation, really.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, let's see, then the Claremont and College area plans have been updated. And the community plan for Normal Heights is part of the Mid-Cities Community Plan update, which incorporates City Heights, Normal Heights, Kensington, Talmadge, and Eastern area. All four of those communities have one community plan because historically they were one community planning area, and at some point they were split into four, but they kept the community planning, the community plan as a coalition of the four communities, while still having developer impact fees going to individual buckets. So it's kind of a mess. And I'm wondering if Normal Heights shouldn't just be split off, if the four communities should be individual.
Well,
Yeah, I know. And you're like, yeah, good luck with that.
yeah, it's a really interesting idea. Maybe in an environment where the city had some excess budget to draft for community plan instead of scraping along to update one.
Yeah.
That's the big nasty part. Cause
Okay.
they're already struck with, we used to get free food at our planning meetings, no more free food.
Okay.
You know, times are tough. But I like your thought. It's a really nice idea.
Okay.
I could definitely talk to, Alex Frost and watch his eyes budge out of his head, but
That might be fun.
yeah.
And then you can JK.
I mean, it's worth putting out there. But I don't know if would they go for it? I'll be honest, probably not.
Yeah. I think it might be an interesting conversation with the other planning areas first
Yeah,
and see if they have any pain points with being tied at the hip to Normal Heights.
yeah. I mean, it is difficult. We're going through the Mid-City Community Plan update now, and it is interesting to see kind of some people in Eastern area, like you're talking about, like, we're trying to get a sidewalk over here, they kind of swing the finger and go, well, Normal Heights, you already have everything, so like, we should be getting, so there is
Yeah.
a
Right.
little bit of push and pull there because when you compare Normal Heights to Eastern area, two very different communities, layouts, everything. So yeah, I mean, it is interesting.
Yeah, because we're fully infilled and they're almost rural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we're talking about even land use concepts, very interesting to, how do you distribute density? And the people in Eastern area are going, stick it over there. And then everybody else is going, no, go that way. So it's, yeah.
And I think historically, that's the reason the areas were, that's why the areas were split, was because they were different.
Yeah.
But it was also a way of reducing the power of the Mid-Cities community because we didn't have that mass.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely talk to the other communities and see what their thoughts are on it.
Yeah.
Probably not for this round. We're
Yeah.
already down the road.
I was gonna say, I'm like, ooh, yeah, we're already, they're supposed to have a draft here pretty soon, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess we have that on the agenda, so we'll move on. Is there anyone here from the representing state?
Excuse me, Paul.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Danielle again. I was on Eastern Area Planning Group for about 20 years, representing the local Little League as nonprofit. And there was a lot of talk while Laura Rebow was the chair for probably 10 of those years, to have Eastern Area split off also from the mid-cities when the plan update was going to happen. I know City Heights could probably stand on their own because they're so large and dense as their own community plan. But like you said, Alex's eyeballs might bug out when he hears it because even David Modi from Kental brought it up. It says, you know, you've been telling us for a couple decades or so, because the plan's 30 years old, right? So for a couple decades, we at different times, each of the 4 planning groups have been asking the city, can we split off? And they always would tell us, well, when we do the plan update, that's the best time to do it. The only thing that we've accomplished, because College Area just did go through their community plan, is we had a boundary change between Kental and College Area because both planning groups agreed upon it like 5 years ago. And, you know, both of us as community planning groups were told, wait until the updates happen. So we got a little bit of land from the College Area tucked into Kental. And the cities only saw the wisdom of that because of the big Montezuma fire that happened on the boundaries of both. So,
Good to know.
but yeah, good. Yeah, that's a little bit of history. But you know, bring it up at the next planning update and say, if we're not going to break off into 4 different groups now, when are we? Because you've told us for several decades that now's the time to do it.
Okay. Good to know, because I'll see Laura at the CPC.
Uh-huh. And I'm trying to think of the young man. He's up in DSD, and if I think of his name, he was our planner for the last community plan update way back. That his name is not on the tip of my tongue right now.
I can't imagine it would be. It's been a while. Thank you. That's good info. Anyone in the room or online from the state or federal representation? Okay. Local organizations, AABA, El Cajon Business Association, Normal Heights Community Association, Normal Heights Urban Arts, Adams Community Recreation Advisory Group.
We had no meeting for December.
Okay. Normal Heights for Smart Growth. Speaking on behalf of them, our main push right now is the getting the community garden built out and the formation of the 501c3 for the Normal Heights Community Garden. That entity has been approved by the Secretary of State, so it is now a legal entity and can start shopping insurance that is required for getting the occupancy permit. So that's all moving right along. And that's been relayed to Parks and Recreation on the city side today. So they're up to speed on that with the mulching event in February. And then we're targeting a water installation for March. They have to shop some resources and find out what the schedule is on that. But that's the target, at least it's on the table right now. And once we have the occupancy permit and the water, we're on our way. So I think it'll be springtime planting, hopefully. Standing committees. Mid-City Community Plan Update Committee.
So we already talked a little bit about it, but they have not scheduled a date for our next meeting, but it's either gonna be the dates they gave us for like late January, early February. But I do not have a confirmed date. If it happens before our next meeting, I'll certainly let everyone know, or if not, you can look up the Mid-City Community Plan Update, and whenever they set a date and an agenda, it'll be posted there. And I'll definitely raise the idea of splitting, or no, you're gonna talk to chairs first, but let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna fill
And
it out,
I can bring it up.
because they may say, not right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
I have a feeling that'll be David's opinion on it, is like, not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, historical property review report. Dan usually does that. I don't see him here. Utility undergrounding and street lighting, Matt.
So I think we got an update from city staff that they are in the process. We were having the city run 2 cost scenarios for basically numbers of acorn lights versus cobra lights. And we're supposed to be getting feedback from the city, I think within the next month, it sounded like. And at that point, we had asked the city undergrounding team if they would come and make a presentation. Unfortunately, they politely declined. So Francis and I thought that maybe February meeting might be a little too soon, depending on the timing, but maybe in March that we'll host our own little community-based update on the undergrounding process. And hopefully we'll be able to present the cost estimates for acorn lights. And then from there, then we can really kind of start moving on the rest of it.
Question about the acorn lights. Are these like with cast iron bottoms, like the ones we hear about in Adams, or is there a more modern structure, or like they're out of machined aluminum or something?
That's a great question. If they have some numbers, they've got to be basing it on something. So I'll ask that when they provide the cost estimate to give us a breakdown of what materials are involved.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we know at this point.
It just occurred to me that probably not cast iron.
Yeah, I know, because they've been pointing us in the direction of North Park did a similar acorn light mat a couple of years ago. So if you know the ones in North Park, I'm not great with materials, but I'm guessing it'd probably be the same type of material.
Okay.
But we can confirm.
It might be interesting for the value add.
Yeah.
In that case, if we have no other business.
We have cookies or something, have they, over there?
Yeah, please help yourself some Christmas cookies.
Christmas cookies.
I can't believe that's not on the agenda.
Yeah. My bad. All on my sword.
And then somebody said food, it's like,
Ooh. If I could interrupt one more time, Paul. The gentleman's name is Michael Prinz, Prinz. He is the current staffer for the Planning Commission. So he's moved up these last few decades from an original planner to Planning Commission staff. Prinz, Prince, M. Prinz.
I am familiar with Mr. Prince.
I was gonna say, after Michael, yeah, we can, let me know.
At this point, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.